Welcome to Spectacle program on television Nigerian. I am your host Daniel Atai, and today we shall be looking at cybercrime with reference to the biggest US crime in history. Of course, the financial crime that is traced to 80 Nigerian suspects living in the US and in Nigeria. Remember that Spectacle is open for sponsorship of your socio-political and economic achievements such as scorecards, personal or professional profiles, visions of aspirations and blueprints. We tell it to the world for you. Audience could participate by calling and texting via the telephone numbers that will be displayed shortly on the screen on the course of the program. However, I have analysts in the studio with me that will be doing justice to the topic on discussion. But before I introduce them, let's look at what happened in the United States of America just last week. From the Washington, D.C., for years now, dozens of scammers from Nigeria and other countries swindled millions of dollars from U.S. businesses and individuals, funneling the stolen money through accounts provided by two fellow Nigerian brokers based in the Los Angeles. In the burgeoning underworld of online fraud, Nigerian nationals, Valentine by name, Valentine Iro, and Chukwudi Christogunos Igbokwe were well-known operators who went by a raft of pseudonyms, including Iro Enterprises and Chris Kudon. These two names were the pseudonyms they were using to fraud people in faraway United States of America. Between 2014 and 2018, Iro and Igbokwe, working with nearly 80 others, and other international swindlers, facilitated a series of schemes that resulted in the theft of at least $6 million and the attempted theft of about $40 million more from victims across 10 countries, according to a 252-count federal indictment unsealed on Thursday by the Federal Bureau of Intelligence, United States of America. The scammers victimized individuals and small and large businesses. In targeting businesses, they used a tactic called business email, which comprises of CEO fraud scheme. Under the scheme, a fraudster gains access to a company's computer system and then posing as a company executive. Of course, he tricks an employee into making an unauthorized wire transfer into a bank account the fraudster controls. Of course, the victims and the indictment documents, several corporate victims have been mentioned, victimized since 2014. And in 2014, precisely, San Diego clothing distributor wired nearly $46,000 into a bank account controlled by one of the scammers, believing it was paying a Chinese vendor for an order of men's shirt. In 2016, an unidentified Texas company was tricked into wiring $187,000 into a fraudulent account again. The company thought it was making a payment for an oil extraction equipment order. The conspiracy also targeted the elderly and victims of so-called romance scam. That is the tag the FBI used. And for example, in 2016, a Japanese woman We apologize for that break in transmission due to technical fault in the studio. Like as we were saying that in 2017, an 86-year-old man with dementia and Alzheimer's wired nearly $12,000 to a bank account controlled by one of these fraudsters that have been captured in faraway U.S. The Justice Department unsealed the indictment after the arrest of 14 people, including Iro and Igbokwe, early Thursday last week. 3 others were already in custody. 6 defendants remain at large in the United States, while authorities are working with partners in 9 other countries to arrest 57 others, most of whom are believed to be in Nigeria. Nigerian statement in a Nigerian international rep talking about what is that her name? Abike Dabiri Erewa, who is in charge of the Nigerian Diaspora Commission chief, all those accused in Nigeria to voluntarily turn themselves into American authorities to clear their names. She added that Nigeria should extradite the defendants if relevant international treaties between the two governments are invoked. Citing a Justice Department policy, a department spokeswoman declined to say whether the U.S. has made an extradition request since 2014. However, like I said before, I have analysts in the studio with me that will be doing justice to this particular program. And far by my right is Honorable Adidu Iwo. Honorable Adidu Iwo is a member Presidential Campaign Council of 2019. That is President Muhammadu Buhari's campaign coordinator. And by my near right is Comrade Great Felix. Great Felix is the North Central Coordinator of Youth Lead Nigeria. And they will be looking into this cybercrime. Is it as a result of unemployment of the youth? And most people involved here are even elderly. Let me start from you, Great Felix. And what do you think? This far away in the United States of America, 18 Nigerians, into this scam, arrested. 14 of them have been arrested. And what is the consequences of this crime?
Thank you for having me. I'd like to make it clear that so far the allegation is an allegation. It has not been proven. And until these individuals...
They've been caught. We saw them being arrested, and some of them have made some confessional statements to that regard.
Yeah, some of them may be innocent. Why I say that is until proven guilty, they remain innocent. It's an allegation.
Okay.
And I like to also make it very, very clear that internet fraud scam or advanced fee fraud hinges largely on unemployment. We should be bold enough to call a spade a spade.
Okay.
The truth is that a lot of young men and young women have lost confidence in this government of the state or in the federal government of Nigeria. The Nigerian government is doing little or nothing to checkmate youth restiveness and vices among Nigerians. It's very, very disheartening that after having gone through the experience of schooling in Nigeria, you have no gainful job employment. There's no enabling environment where youths can pursue their passions and dreams. And then we live in a country where until you know someone, you cannot get job on merit. How many people actually get job on merit? Most of these people are doing this today. You should look at it. Everything has the other side.
Okay. Are you saying that because of the joblessness?
Yes, it's not just the joblessness. The Nigerian government over time has shown little or no concern towards addressing unemployment among youths. People who are involved in this advanced fee fraud are predominantly youths. And these are youth with sound minds, with sound knowledge. These are youth with creative energy and mind. It's not just easy to get there and defraud someone of his money. But they are offering something in return for this.
For them to be able to go to faraway United States of America, do you still assume that they are poor, peasant youths?
It may surprise that you don't know how long it takes some of them to save up money to travel outside this country. Some of them even smuggle themselves into this country. We've come to that point. Let me remind you, you recall that when they were trying to extradite some people who were stranded in Libya, some of them refused to come back home. They say they rather die there. The situation has deteriorated to a point. I'm talking as a youth. I know we wear the shoe, we know where it pinches. It has deteriorated to a point where some youth have lost confidence in the state. In that state, that is why you see that you see the security crisis we are talking about now predominantly hinges on unemployment. A lot of graduates have nothing to do. Even the private sector, there is no much empowerment. There is no the government is not making an enabling environment for partnership with even private sector. And now who is recruiting now? Most of these guys who are over there, if you go to check their background, it's not just easy. What they are doing, they are creative. If you look at harnessing the creative energy, they are using negatively.
Yes.
Now,
yeah, I like that point. They are using it
negatively because everything has the other side.
Yes.
If we harness it and use it positively, it will boost our production locally. But the government of this country is doing little or nothing to address unemployment among Nigerians. Even in the school today, in the school curriculum, we are now a lot of recommendations have been coming from NUC, other international body to introduce entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Because beyond the school, if government can employ you, there should be an enabling environment where you can pursue a passion. As a mechanical engineer, you should come out of school. You should be gainfully. It's a practical course. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. But the enabling environment is it there? Where you see someone who studied mechanical engineering looking for a job in a bank, that's like putting a square peg in a round hole. So this issue, we should look at it. I believe that the Nigerian government should go back to the drawing board. There is never a time that it becomes so imperative that the Nigerian government must get back to the drawing board and think of how to tackle and checkmate unemployment among Nigerian youths.
All right. Wonderful point there. You said you hinged it on unemployment saga and the lack of absorption of the government youth into the government parastatals and ministries and departments. Comrade Adidu, you are one die-hard member of the presidential campaign for President Buhari re-election bid 2019. And of course, you have also served as a vice chairman of a particular local government. And what would you say about the unemployment rate among the youths, especially in this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari? He just, appointed, inaugurated his cabinet. We're talking about cybercrime as related to unemployment. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the program.
Thank you.
And hello, Nigerians. The issue of crime must be put in a very proper perspective.
Okay.
And I would like to start from the basis so that we understand ourselves. Now, what is crime? Crime literally is whatever you do that is against the norm and the constitution of wherever you have found yourself.
Exactly.
Having said that, we must also look at what are those proponents that must be in place for you to, go into crime. For me, there are three major factors that drive anybody, whether infants, whether teenager, whether youth, whether adult, into crime. Basically three for me.
Okay.
One is lack.
Okay.
When you don't have.
Okay.
Two is greed.
Okay.
And three is contentment.
Okay.
The first is what I want to bother about, because this is where the factors that affect or influence you is externally driven.
Okay.
The rest is inherently and internally driven.
Okay.
Now, the first is lack. And this is where my brother was trying to harp upon.
Okay.
But this is where you can apportion blame to all the other facets of the society. Government and religious body. Most importantly, family and your environment. That's your community you grew up from. I want to start from your family and where you grew up from. That's nature and nurture.
Okay, I want you to hinge it, because you are defining it elaborately, but I want you to hinge it on the cybercrime committed by 80 Nigerians, both at home and in faraway United States of America.
I was actually trying to lay a preamble.
Okay, go ahead.
If we understand what drives people,
like the three things you said:
crime.
lack,
lack,
greed and
contentment. But the rest two are inherent, and those are internal factors.
Okay.
So that largely lies on the individual.
Okay.
But lack is externally driven.
Okay.
Now, going back to your question, having laid that foundation, is I know I have strived to go to America myself. And I know what it entails to go to America.
Okay.
It costs money. You need an average of at least $1 million to get into America as a first-time traveler. Besides your visa application fees, your transport fare, and the monies that you must use to maintain yourself while you are in America, it's huge money. There's no way. I want to put it on record here. Honorable, I want to put it on record here.
Okay.
That there's no excuse for crime.
Okay, good.
Absolutely no excuse for crime.
Okay.
If you can hustle together about £1 million to go to America, £1 million can do a whole lot here. My little farm I started way back was less than 100,000.
Okay. So it means it encroaches the second aspect you talked about, greed.
Basically. And this is where I actually wanted to go into after I tackled the issue of lack. Lack, I can excuse bitterly, minimally, I can.
Okay.
But greed and contentment are the other two factors that drive people into crime.
All right. Now, you heard what Abike Debere, the High Commission for Nigerian in the Diaspora, said, Great Felix, that if America requested for their extraditions, those indicted here, they will extradite them to the United States of America. But as we speak, even before making that attempt, rumors have it that some Nigerians are already, tripling into the U.S. Embassy to go and submit themselves that they are involved in the crime in a bid to just leave the country. Do you think the country situation is that pathetic for one to prefer being in prison in U.S. than to be free in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you. You see, I'd like to also emphasize on something. I expect the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to come out at this very critical time. This news has a very, very damaging effect on our name, on us as a people. And we want to abundantly make it clear that those few Nigerians there does not represent the population or the generality of Nigerian youths.
Okay.
There are few bad eggs. For those, like you said, there is no excuse for crime. But I still hinges it on the fact that we don't have a responsible government. We don't have responsible leadership in Africa and particularly in Nigeria. We have a lot of youth breaking and setting and making records across border, beyond border, overseas, in medicine, in science, in technology, in sport. Name them. But they are not giving this level of media publicity.
Yeah.
But whenever it has to, anything that has to dent, anything that paints or portray Nigeria particularly in the bad light, you see the way the Western media, propagate it so massively. Yes, Nigeria is a big player. Nigeria is a lead, what do you call it? Is giant of Africa, and among the Committee of Nations, we've reclaimed our position. Yeah. We also must, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission and the necessary government agencies must also stand up to their responsibility to also do image laundering for Nigerians. Unfortunately, there are a lot of Nigerians that are legitimately hustling and working abroad. There are a lot of Nigerian students that are schooling abroad. And because of the implication, the multiplier effect of this is that it will hamper transactions.
Of course, it's already begun because the U.S. government has
suspended this Western Union money transfer.
Exactly.
There are a lot of people who are breadwinners overseas who send money to their parents, their siblings for upkeep here. They've suspended that. So we must look at it.
And they may suspend visa.
I think they've suspended that to visa interview to further notice.
So, Comrade Adidu, we are witnessing right now, everybody, some well-to-do guys wants to go to the United States of America.
In search of greener pasture.
What is actually wrong with our country? What is actually wrong with the administrations past and present?
Thank you for that.
Yes.
And You know, I said earlier, I always love putting things in proper perspective. I don't love to speculate. I am not a speculator.
Yes.
I am built to solve. That's who I am as a mathematician. And what I want to say is, it is not America that is giving us bad names. It's not the press that is giving us bad names.
Okay.
It is us. The onus lies on us. And if 80, 77 of our young great minds decide to go to the USA and Europe, where there's supposedly a greener pasture, where there's supposedly a saner climb, where there's supposedly an enabling environment, because they cannot strive back home. Okay. Here, you go over there, and the environment is enabling, and you still go into crime. Who are you going to blame for that? Who are you going to blame for that? You say you are here, the environment is enabling, and you go to where the environment is enabling, and you still go into crime. That's to tell you that the fundamental proponents that drive people into crime is not even the environment per se. It's you. If I can find myself in America and I'm working hard here, I think I'm going to work a lot harder in America. I don't need to go into crime, not even in Nigeria.
All right. We'll come into what to do to undo this kind of scenario, and of course the dent of image of the entire country by these few, I could call them charlatans, who wants to use their expertise negatively. In 2017, the U.S. government said that the financial crime to Yahoo was about 143 million. That was last year. Last year, 2007. Last 2 years, because we're in 2019. And according to the Federal Trade Commission, that statement is authentic. Now, the Nigerian fraudsters targeted victims around the world, some of whom lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. At least 16 companies were among the victims. Iro and Igbokwe, the men at the heart of the scam, hail from the Nigerian city of Owerri, according to a criminal complaint filed in the case. Many fraudsters knew them from Owerri. Others were directed to them through middlemen. And of course, some of them are also bragging that they are well known. Like Hero, they say they bragged in the United States that he's well known all over the world and is a CEO of many companies. And if you are a CEO of many companies, should you still indulge yourself in crime of this nature? That is supporting the angle of contentment that you talked about. Now, what do you expect? What do you want Nigeria government to do?
Solutions.
Great Felix, solution to this online crime. Because of course, if you like it or not, we are growing daily in online technology and computer and sophisticated machines for ICT, that is communication gadgets. So what do you think Nigeria government should do now to harness this talent to be used positively?
I think the Nigerian government has much to do in terms of creating awareness, discouraging cybercrime, discouraging migration to places in search of greener pasture, and then more responsibility lies on the government to ensure that the government lead up to our expectation. I expect the National Orientation Agency, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism to put hands together to embark on massive campaign to discourage intending fraudsters who are here. Crime is not the exclusive preserve or identity of a particular people. We have other people who are involved in this cybercrime from different countries. We have other people who are involved. Unfortunately, this time around, we have more Nigerian youths who are allegedly involved in this scandal. I want the Nigerian government to, unlike before, to show genuine commitment to tackling unemployment, to giving the requisite attention to the youth, the teeming youth population. If you check the number of youth who are unemployed in this country, it calls for concern. You can see the level of insecurity. We have not gone into prostitution yet. A lot of people are going out there in search of, to go and prostitute abroad in Italy, in different places, and you don't even know they are sodomizing Nigerians, all in search of greener pasture. This, I think the government should look keenly inward, and first of all, they must embark on a very, very massive campaign to discourage intending fraudsters or those who want to go abroad to go and engage in fraudsters, because we are all affected in this, if you don't know.
All right. Thank you for that submission, and I think the government is listening to you. Comrade Adidu Iwu, you are a strong and ardent believer of President Muhammadu Buhari. This cabinet, do you see youth representative in a kind of representation for the Nigerian youth? And do you think, judging from his cabinet now, is there a place for the Nigerian youth in the nearest future?
Thank you very much. Basically, I want to digress a little. The question you asked my comrade before, I come back to this question. The solutions to this, the problems we have are fundamental. And that means to say that we must place fundamental solutions on ground. First and foremost, our educational system must be looked into.
Okay.
For instance, I did a little research about the German educational system. Germany, by the way, was devastated after the Second World War. In less than 30 years, they became the biggest and the strongest economy in Europe, barely 30 years after the Second World War. How did they achieve that? Education. Their mode of education, the system of education. There's no German that's not skilled.
Yeah, but we have bred thousands of graduates, millions.
Exactly.
More than 40 million Nigerian graduates.
Point. Now, most of the courses, if you
certified in no manner of certifications.
Most of the courses you see being thrown out from the Nigerian universities are basically theoretical. How many of them are skilled? And who says that a sociology graduate cannot be a technician?
Okay, for instance, these guys these online fraudsters are skilled in the
ICT.
Use of ICT, computer
exactly,
systems.
Exactly my point.
Is it that they rejected employment from the Nigerian government before they took to crime?
No, that's not. We are actually trying to pin down sustainable solutions.
Yeah.
We are not talking about individuals here.
Okay. Is there a way?
Of course.
Is there a way you think Nigerian government could absorb graduates and even artisans?
But this was the point I was trying to throw up.
Okay.
First and foremost, we have to go back to remodel our educational system.
Okay.
Secondly, we have to look at our morals, which has to do with our religious background. Because if you see, the churches and the mosques are not helping issues.
And we should forget about religiosity because the Nigerians are mostly very religious and not godly.
Exactly. Now, but this is actually affecting us as a people because we have thrown away salvation and holiness. Now we strive more on miracles and prosperity.
Yes. Magic.
3, environment and family. You know, see your mate.
Exactly.
As we put it in our local pidgin
English
balance. You know, see your mate. We hear that from our family members. We hear that from our community.
Even our wives.
Well, I don't want to dive into the wife issue. We have wives. Before they will drive some of us from home tonight. But you see, these issues are fundamental. Okay. And this is where we as a people, we have to start looking at. For us to get that sustainable solution, these are the 3 key things we must look at. The government must look at our educational model. Yeah. That's number 1. Number 2, our religious bodies must look at, the mode they propagate whatever religion, Christianity and Islam. And number 3, most importantly, our family base and community. See your mate. Yeah.
So our characters.
It is key. And then but there's another point I want to drive here. Now, the government, this particular government, yes, the Buhari's administration, had been able to come into some palliatives which is key.
Yeah.
But that's not sustainable.
Okay.
Because I know that we have gone into so much of social investment programs
Yeah, the SIP.
in trying to palliate this youth restlessness.
Yes.
We try to engage them,
Yes.
and we have seen with Empower, we have seen that with the school fair feeding program, we have seen with the ACOM Barbara.
But yes,
program.
why the Empower is doing well, the aspect of the Nigerian National Homegrown School Feeding
Yes,
and
yes.
the Anchor Borrower
Borrower
Scheme
Program,
is actually not doing well because of corruption.
Exactly.
We have started
I
seeing
can
corruption
explain that.
crippling it. Even the president's wife made mention of the corruption in that sector right now, and I think you people need to look into that.
That can be explained. Now, the school feeding program,
Yes.
which is ACO basically trying to boost indigenous and local farmers.
Yes.
That is what that program is all about.
Okay.
We try to kickstart, we try to boost. That's what that program is all about. But because the federal government is not going that headlong, it's not 100%. The state governments are the ones that lay the structure for government to come in.
The state
For
government
instance,
have just a little percentage. The large chunk of the money comes from the federal government. Even some states are beginning to be partisan about it. This PDP, APC,
It's the same.
segregation.
It's the same
and
thing. It's the same thing. Honorable, it's the same thing I was trying to put on the table. For instance, I come from Benue State.
Okay.
Fortunately, my mother is grossly involved
Okay.
in the school, but she handles a primary school, and she tells me the challenges they go through.
Okay.
Things are not the way it was when the program started.
That is the partisan aspect of it now. However, Great Felix, like we said, the program is actually open to audience. Audience can participate via the phone numbers displayed on the screen, and you can call or send text and contribute your own quota to this topic on discussion, talking about cybercrime. Great Felix, I wouldn't want us to go on break because I'm here to have sponsor on this program, and we could utilize this particular 5 minutes to, nail the topic. He has given 3 perspectives from which Nigerian government should, implement to as palliative measure and absorb Nigerian graduates and artisans. This disparity again of we have graduates, we have non-graduates, we have artisans. All of them are youth, and crime can come from anywhere. And most especially, majority of them are experts in the use of computer and ICT gadgets. What do you think? Talking about the education aspect, the religious aspect, and family aspect, societal aspect. In the educational aspect, if a graduate graduates from the university, what is next for him, for the government to do about such a person?
Yeah, thank you. I hope the necessary authorities will take note that. And also, before I even say that, let me add to what the Honorable just said. See, I want to say this to parents. Nigerian parents must start teaching values.
Okay.
The family circle is where a child is bred, is where values are inculcated into the child. Nigerian parents must start teaching values. And one of the values they must teach our young men and women is contentment.
Okay.
Contentment, let's say contentment. I think by that, if our religious body are doing the necessary things, our family circle at the level of the family, they are teaching the right values, I believe we'll further go to reduce the level of crime associated with youth. And also, to add to what he said, to amplify it, the school system, our curriculum is not actually helping issues. The Nigerian school is not graduating graduates that are self-reliant. We are not prepared to survive beyond what we learn through the university is not enough to put food on our tables. That is why you see someone study something differently and is applying himself at a different scale. We want a system, we want a curriculum where people learn by doing. That is what goes on in Russia, like you said. Where people
Even
learn.
in China,
yes,
in Japan,
yes,
in
you see,
Germany.
yes,
In
Germany, where people learn by doing.
In
You
Europe
understand?
and America.
During vacations like this, it's not just enough to send children to send them to vocational. Let them go and learn a vocation. They should have a handwork. In the long run, we realize that we reduce unemployment to almost a zero minimum.
There is even this situation whereby you have as an artisan, somebody will even mock you that you are an artisan, that he is a graduate, he's certified with certificate, and you could put food on
But
his
let
table.
me tell you, there are some artisans. They are like my mechanic, my auto mechanic. He makes enough money, more than some bank managers. There's much money there. Another thing is that a lot of young men have passion, they have drive, they also have what do you call it, crafts that can gainfully employ them and other youths, but they don't have a system that give them grant or support for startups. You can, if you want to approach a bank now, you need collateral. Most cases, youths don't have this. They cannot meet up this demand. The government should put a system in place.
I think. Let me throw that question to Adido. Like he said, there should be means of absorption, and also means of accessing fund for entrepreneurship or self-reliance. And I am still thinking about industrialization like it used to be. Do you see it in the campaign promises you people made? Are we heading towards industrializing the country again, where the artisans, like he said, the mechanics, the engineers, both certified and non-certified, can be gainfully employed? Do you see it in your blueprint of President Muhammad Buhari's second term?
I did not only see it in the blueprint. A few weeks before the election, as a member of the Presidential Campaign Council, we had an audience with the Vice President, who clearly said to us that the main reason why they are breaking their backs today is because they want to move the youths in the right direction. And how are they going to achieve this? The Vice President told us clearly that they are going to expand the SIP, that's the Social Investment Program.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, that the government is going to liaise with the financial institution to see how they can facilitate loans for artisans, skilled young people. Because the challenges there that the financial homes are going to have is, how do we get our money back?
No, but apart from getting your money back, we have this issue again that the government policies, especially as regards finances, have been always been coming out.
The government has been paying lip service to this.
I'm actually coming to that, and he clearly stated that this is where they are going to come in. This is where the Buhari administration is going to come in. They must build a structure where they can become the collateral for these intending young entrepreneurs. Government must be able to build that platform for people. For instance now, NISAL is a platform for agric borrowers.
Yes.
They are in charge of the Anchor Borrower,
Yes.
the Anchor Borrower program.
But don't forget those middle class, those middlemen always hijack these things.
Now, I am a little time farmer. I'm a small scale farmer, and I've been talking to NISA on how to expand my farm, and I know what the government has done as per that.
Okay.
Now, building a sustainable structure to maintain youth, to absorb this youth cybercrime. Number one, which is very, very key.
Okay, for lack of time, you can
You mean it?
quickly drive your point.
I will say it again.
Yes.
There's no excuse for crime.
Okay.
But the government must come in to help, because the young mind is like a water flow.
Fertile ground.
If you don't create part for it, it will create part for itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So our educational system must be remodeled to inculcate skills even when you are going through your undergraduate.
Okay.
Two, which I want to stress today, and if I ever make it to any government proposition, this is one of the major things I'm going to push as a bill.
Okay.
That the NYC must be looked into again.
Okay.
NYC must be broken down.
Okay.
It is not all about theory. It's just a continuation of the theory. NYC at least give 6 months of NYC to skills acquisition.
Okay, good.
This is one bill that I am trying to put together to push in this administration.
Okay.
And inshallah, before 2023, I would put that bill before the National Assembly.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Adidu. Your last note, Comrade Felix.
Yeah, I want to use this opportunity to tell Nigerians to stay clear of internet fraud. Like he said, there is no excuse to crime. I think there is more you can do with your creative energy and passion and exuberance. We don't have to get overseas before we can make a good living. We can still make our place habitable. We can make here the greener pasture we want to be. And also, we also use this opportunity to also tell the government of the day to look inward, to give the right attention to youth empowerment, to youth unemployment, and to checkmate the vices that's associated with youth and then Nigerians abroad.
And
Thank
mostly
you so much.
implementation of financial policies.
Yes, we are tired of this lip service government is paying to financial
the
policies.
middlemen. All
Clear
right.
the middlemen and
What
remove the
I
bottleneck
think
so that
also-
we can access funds and then pursue our passions and dreams in this country.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Great Felix, for that wonderful contribution. And what to do, I think the government and corporate clients should be advised on anti-money laundering strategy also. Of course, Nigerian anti-graft agencies, the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, also have warned the internet service providers that they risk 20 years imprisonment. However, before taking somebody to the prison, you should always have, mechanism to stopping this kind of crime. So the banks and the internet providers should also have means of stopping this crime before it happens. That is where we are going to stop today on Spectacle program. And like we said, we are open for sponsorship. Spectacle is open for sponsorship, and we can handle everything about your scorecard, your performances, your visions, your blueprints, and so on. We tell it to the world for you. Once again, I'm your host, Daniel Atai. Thank you for being there and for watching.